My name is Jacob McKinney. Most people just call me Jake for short. I don't normally do videos like this, just sitting here talking. So, uh, it's a little different for me, but I'm gonna try my best anyways. Um, the reason I am actually making this video though is because my wife and I have been trying to conceive. Uh, we've been trying to get pregnant for about a year and a half now. Um, she's in a bunch of support groups on Facebook. She's following a bunch of channels on YouTube, and we're pretty much just trying to seek information and help out wherever we can. Um, and those videos on YouTube, she's been watching them, and we've kind of talked it over, and we thought it would be a good idea for us to actually make our own videos to kind of document our journey along the way. Um, like I said, we've been trying for about a year and a half. We managed to get pregnant once, but we lost that baby. I'll talk about that more here in a second. But yeah, it's been a rough road so far. We've pretty much tried everything we can. Yes, I've got a timeline wrote down here on this notepad of pretty much a list of events that has happened along the way. Uh, so pretty much it all started back in late November 2020. Uh, we were talking back and forth, me and her, whether we thought we were actually ready to try for a baby. Okay, and she'd been on birth control pills for a while, and so in November, uh, we actually decided over, and I told her to go ahead and stop the pills, and we'll start trying. And so we actually started trying in December 2020. That was technically our first month trying, and we pretty much done anything we could. We tried different over-the-counter medicines. Uh, we went to doctor's appointments. All of that. Nothing's really happening. We went to a doctor in March 2021. It was about middle of March, and she told us that just give it a couple more months, that it could take up to a year for couples trying to conceive. So she told us to come back around September 2021, and if it's not happening by then she'll give us medicine to help. And as it was a little weird because we was actually at the beach. Me and her were talking about it in August, and the appointment was the next month. And I was joking with her. I told her, I said I have been kind of having some weird, craving things. So with the appointment in September, I guess it kind of jinxed us. We actually managed to get our positive August 12th, 2021. And that was about after 10 to 11 different cycles of us trying, over-the-counter meds, us going and, seeking help on Facebook, seeking help on YouTube, comments. We pretty much tried anything we could, and it finally happened for us. So we went back to that doctor August 24th. We were about 4 weeks at the time, and the doctor told us that we were too early, said there's nothing really she can do right now. Uh, there's nothing she could tell us, and we came back home and we talked about it, and we decided we should probably go seek help somewhere else. Not because we didn't like the doctor, but she had some history of recurrent miscarriages, and we just kind of, talked about it. And we decided we needed to go somewhere else and try to get better help. So we went to see a different doctor September 8th, 2021. We went there. We was about 7 weeks at that time. Uh, that doctor is actually, willing to help us, kind of, or willing to help us better. Uh, she done an ultrasound, and I believe the heartbeat was about 117. And we got a due date that day. Uh, said that the baby was actually supposed to be due on April 27th, 2022. Uh, but uh, she had a C-section with two of her three boys. Uh, so they were actually going to induce her the 20th and go ahead and take the baby that day. About 39 weeks at that time. So she's been looking online at, we were excited we were pregnant, excited that it was actually happening for us. Like I said, it's about 11 cycles. So yeah, we were pretty excited that it happened. Uh, so she was actually looking online and found a gender test that was supposed to, tell the baby's gender early on in the pregnancy. It was actually called sneak peek test. What it was a blood test. She would go prick her finger and send it back into a lab, and they would test the blood and uh, differentiate between hers and the baby's blood. So she had to go sanitize everything down in the bathroom to get rid of mine and our son's, DNA in the bathroom, uh, and do that so it doesn't get a false positive. The results came back in for that, and it was a girl. We were excited and scared at the same time. We were excited because it was a girl. She's always wanted a girl, and I told her, I said it would be awesome if our first was a girl because it would be her first girl and our first baby. So a couple more weeks passed. Everything was going fine, like you would expect. But then we started having some problems in September 26th. We were about 10 weeks at that time. Um, she started cramping really bad, and we thought it would, we thought it was okay. But the very next morning, she woke up and uh, she started, bleeding a little bit with the cramping, and the doctor told us to come on in. We went to the doctor September 27th. We got told that we actually lost our baby 2 weeks before. The baby was only measuring 8 weeks at the time, and like I said, we were thinking about 10 weeks, but the baby was only 8 weeks, so we actually lost the baby 2 weeks earlier. It just took the extra 2 weeks to finally catch up, with everything. So we were down that day. You know, we thought all hope was lost. We lost our baby. Um, Came back home, and 2 days later, she woke up, bleeding worse. It was Wednesday, September 29th, around 4:30 a.m. We actually lost our baby that day. She passed it, came out, and we buried it. We skip ahead. We were still trying to, deal with the grief, deal with loss. Um, so we started, researching more about recurrent miscarriage, things you could do to prevent it, stuff like that. We actually started on a diet that only lasted for us about 4 or 5 weeks, I'd say. Um, but we were still trying at the time to deal with the grief and stuff. All right, January 2022 rolls around, and it was actually the 17th of January. We actually went to a new doctor. We were about 4 cycles in at the time, and she started us on medicated cycles. She said that it could take up to a year for new couples to try to conceive, but she decided with the medicated cycles that should shorten that time. So she started us on Clomid, taking it 3 to 7 days after you start the cycle. The first round of Clomid she started us on was from January 19th to February 17th. Uh, she started us on 100 milligrams, and she told us to come back and do labs after 21 days of starting that new cycle. Our progesterone level that day was 15, and unfortunately that cycle did fail. We went back to the doctor, and she told us it was really good ovulation because of the progesterone level, but it just failed. So round two started February 18th through March 19th. She said we'll up the dose to 150. Started taking that, 3 through 7, and we went back for 21-day labs, and the progesterone level that time was 16. It raised a little bit, but not much. Again, that cycle also failed. We went back to the doctor another time after that. She said that we had 2 really good ovulation cycles. She's not sure why it didn't happen, but she's going to give us another round of Clomid. So the final round was from March 20th to April 17th. She gave us 200 milligrams of Clomid. We went back for 21-day labs. We didn't actually go to the clinic for this one. We went to the hospital because it was a Saturday at the time. We went to the lab, and our progesterone level that time was 22.8. So again, it didn't raise much, but it raised enough to give us hope that things were moving in the right direction. But unfortunately, that cycle failed too. So we went back to the doctor Wednesday, April 20th, and she said since we had 3 good cycles with ovulation, she's not sure why it didn't work, but she's going to give us Femera, which is supposed to be the same but a little bit stronger, I believe. Again, you take it days 3 through 7 of the cycle, but she started us out on 7.5 milligrams this time, and we're currently on that right now. We just took the last dose last night, April 24th, I believe it was. But we have another HSG test scheduled for this Wednesday coming, April 27th. Pretty much what an HSG test though is, I didn't mention it earlier, but we actually had one back in January, and the doctor said that everything was fine. What it is, they run dye through the woman's tubes and flush that out, so that way it can help increase odds for trying to conceive. But we have another one scheduled for this Wednesday, the 27th, and we're hoping everything turns out right. We're hoping that, again, it gives us increased chances, and we will keep you guys posted the best we can whenever new stuff happens.